Hi there. I have been cooking up some COVID related videos, but I'm here right now because I feel called to speak about this other pandemic, this pandemic of pernicious and pervasive and long-standing and agonizing racism. And I think right now that is what we are really being asked to take a good look at. And so I wanted to share some of my thoughts and reflections on that, humbly and with love and with intention, to just add a voice in the healing that's happening, that I hope is happening right now. I work with the most beautiful people in my practice, my therapy practice. They're wonderful souls. And I did diversity related work for many, many years, and have traveled extensively. And I just feel like this is such an opportunity for us to step forward in a new way. So I wanted to take a little bit of time and share some of my thoughts. The first thought I have is I think many of us have been watching. There is a way in which what has recently been happening, is penetrating at a deeper level. The painful murders that we've witnessed, and the agony that results. Somehow, it's been penetrating in a deeper way. And I've just been wondering about that and reflecting on that. And I think, it's interesting. Part of this whole COVID pandemic has created more quiet and less distraction. And I believe that the noise we're surrounded with in this culture takes us so far off center that half the time we're just trying to survive and keep up with everything. And we're not even really thinking and acting from our place of integrity, because we're kind of bombarded. And there's something that's happened recently where we are more open to listening and to receiving and to witnessing what's happening with less noise. So I think that's profound, and it's a profound opportunity. And it's interesting that I believe it may be coming at a time when we've been kind of forced to go in and to quiet down to an extent. The other thing I think that I've been thinking about is, for the first time in many of our lives, and here I'm talking about some of the white, more sheltered, privileged among us, we are experiencing a time when we are struggling to trust those who are supposed to be acting for our greatest good. It may be one of the first times in a deep way we can't even trust. And I'm not saying that we always should trust, but it's more blatant right now, where a lot of us are struggling with what it means, this existential experience of not being able to trust those who've been entrusted to care for our greatest good. And so there's also this new level of empathy, or connection with that experience in a deeper way. I don't even know if it's conscious, but a way that we're feeling into what it's like to live in a system that we can't fully trust. And I'm just saying, we know that we're maybe sensing the tip of the iceberg of that feeling. But I think there's something happening there that maybe, bringing about this kind of a reaction. Anyway, so today I just wanted to share some thoughts about kind of this question: how do we stay present through this and move forward consciously and with integrity and with persistence? So, the first thing that's been coming up for me with a lot of different people is the sense of guilt. The sense of guilt that many of us feel when we see this kind of pain and injustice and feel powerless. So I would invite each of us to see guilt as an indication of care and of engagement and of allowing oneself to be moved and a reflection and a sign of a desire to do something. And I would invite us not to get stuck in guilt, because guilt has a way of causing anger, resentment, self criticism, paralysis, um, hopelessness, and that's not what's needed right now. Guilt is a constricting um, emotion, it doesn't expand us. And it comes up at times like this. So welcome it, recognize it as a sign of care and open heartedness, and let it be a motivator. Let us channel it into a positive motivator and not get stuck in guilt for its own sake. It's harmful to us, and it's harmful to the cause, because we can't act fully and with love. So the second thing I've been thinking about is, a lot of people are asking what to do. What do we do with this? And I guess I had a few thoughts about that. First of all, there's a million messages on social media about what to do. And I encourage each of us to, take in the amount of information that feels helpful, but then turn in and ask, what feels right to me? How do I express my gifts? What are the inner and outer resources that I have that I would feel in my integrity, that would feel in alignment for me to share? Because there's not one thing to do that's right, and there's not one thing to do that's wrong. We're too different. The way we share and love and give is different. The way we receive is different. So there's no right answer other than the answer that feels right to you. So keep turning in. Come back inside when you're reading about what to do. What feels right to you at a given moment? I know a lot of people are reading and they feel overwhelmed and they feel like they can't do enough. But, sitting peacefully and, praying or sharing vibes of love in the universe sometimes is the thing that we need to do. So listen, turn in. That would be the first thing I would share. And monitor the amount of information you're taking in, and make sure that you're checking back in with yourself. The second thing is to be gentle with each other. One thing I can say from years and years of work in individual therapy and lots of diversity consulting and all sorts of different kinds of work, no one changes and shifts from a place of shame, from a place of feeling attacked, from a place of feeling embarrassed, from a place of feeling hurt. No one. So I'm not saying that we don't be honest and genuine and strong and firm in what we believe, but I am saying we need to be gentle enough that we can hear each other. Because as soon as someone feels attacked or we feel attacked, we shut down. And we can't really shift when we're shutting down. We can't be open. So I just invite us to kind of keep that as front and center as we can, a desire to be gentle and to be gradual and to stay open enough, and to monitor. If we feel like we're getting heated, we say, I'm really getting heated. This is really painful to hear. I'm having trouble hearing you. This is really hurting me to hear what you're saying. Say it, own it, name it, but watch that tendency to escalate, and try to rein it back in so we can stay connected. The second thing is to be gentle with yourself, which is at least as important, if not more, than the first piece, to be gentle with each other. We are not perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect. We can't be perfect for everyone. And this situation is not about being perfect. It's not possible. It is about staying in the fray. It is about stepping forward and persisting. Be gentle with yourself. Try. If it doesn't work, fine, you're trying. Give yourself credit. Persist. Come back. Be gentle with yourself so that you can stay in the fray. And that leads me to the next reflection, which is that entering into the territory of race relations and injustice is fraught. In this country, among, as well as other places, it is so fraught. It is so loaded. We are working with generations of agony and injustice and pain and suffering and silence. So, this is not supposed to be easy. And this territory is fraught with the possibility of misunderstanding and hurt feelings and vulnerability and backlash and shock because an intention isn't met in the way it's given. And that is par for the course. It's okay. This is not supposed to be easy, and we have to be really forgiving of ourselves and each other and to say it. This is not supposed to be easy. It's okay if we're having a bump in the road. We're going to get it right. We're going to come back. We're trying. We're learning. Stay anyway. Keep showing up. It's interesting. A large part of the ongoing problems are from a system that has really, been deeply poisoned from the very onset. This country founded on genocide and slavery. So there's toxicity from the onset, and there are systemic forces at work. But a lot of the ongoing division and separation is also because it's hard to get in the mix. It's hard. Even, good-hearted, good-intentioned people from all perspectives struggle to get in the mix because it's vulnerable. And like I said, this is fraught territory. So let's all give ourselves a lot of credit and courage as we try again and stay in the fray. So what does it mean to stay in the fray and show up? With respect, most of our work is among us. Most of the work of, the white, sort of more privileged or dominant groups is among us. But in terms of, we'll get to that, but in terms of, interacting with people of color, we're not the experts on that experience. And I think many of us are, realizing that at deeper and deeper levels. And we don't have to be the experts, and we're not supposed to be the experts. And so I invite each of us again and again to humbly, not be afraid to say, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I'm learning. How can I do better? How did that feel? Why are you reacting that way? I didn't get that right. We're not the experts, and we need to not be, and that's okay. And we live in a culture where it's very insidious the ways I think often people who've been privileged step in and take charge. It's insidious. It's not even conscious. It's sort of an expectation. I've got the resources. I've got the know-how. Let me do it. And so I think right now we're being told and we're being asked, don't be the expert. You can't be. Ask. Slow down. Check yourself. And I'm encouraging each of us to keep that in mind as we enter into those circles of people who are carrying that kind of injury. Because what we may think will be helpful may miss the mark, and that's okay. So when it comes with and connect with that intention, and know that you're acting from a good place, and hang in there. And if it isn't met that way, that's okay. Find places that are available to help and teach and to grow and to contribute. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect everywhere. But know your intention, and make sure the intention is filled with humility and question asking, curiosity, deference. And then the last point is when we're working among each other, I think right now we're each sort of asking ourselves, how do we use, our privilege to educate those around us first to educate ourselves. What do we need to learn and read and listen to and observe? Um, uh, First to educate ourselves, and then to really talk with each other honestly about, I'm not sure I see it that way, or I wonder how that works where you're working in your workplace. Um, to be honest and to look around and to hold ourselves and each other accountable in our workplaces, in our gyms, in our community centers, or wherever we're going to hang out and to do our thing, to really take a stand when we see, something that's not right, and to check ourselves and to stay honest and to show up for each other, and again to hold ourselves and each other accountable, to show up with our votes, to show up with our votes, to show up with our bodies, like at the protests. But again, each of us has our own moment and our own gift that needs to be expressed in each moment. So it's not about doing everything, but it's about how do we show up for each other in a way that brings out the best in us, and that really holds us accountable wherever we are. And I think we're being asked now to take another step into that, to step into that fray too, and to hold the people in positions of leadership around us more accountable, and to ask questions about disparity, or hiring percentages, representations of different groups where we are, and to really to step up. So those are my thoughts at this time. One, for different reasons we're absorbing and metabolizing what's happening in a deeper way, which is a gift and a blessing, as painful as it is, that we really work with our guilt and let it be transformed into a positive motivator, that we really monitor the information that we take in and check in with ourselves. What feels true to us? If it's not genuine, it's not gonna, chances are not great that it's gonna work. That we be gentle with each other, and we recognize when we're getting heated in a way that's gonna make it hard for true change and true growth to occur, to be gentle with ourselves, and recognize that this is not supposed to be easy, and we're just being asked to stay with it, and to recognize that this territory is so loaded and so painful and so fraught, and so it's not easy and it's not quick, and we can't give up, and we have to hang in there. And with people of color, we have to hang in there with humility and curiosity, and asking questions and owning if we get it wrong, and recognizing when our intentions are getting through, and maybe recognizing when this is not a place where our intentions are needed or wanted, and not being hurt by that. There are plenty of places to contribute and to learn and grow. And then with respect to our own communities, to really, feel into ways to hold ourselves and each other accountable, and to talk about our feelings and our hurts and our powerlessness, and to talk about where it's hard to step into the fray with each other, and to hold our some of the leaders where we are accountable, to talk about that, to work on that, to support each other in that, in changing the system. It's largely, it's our responsibility. Without guilt, it's our responsibility. It's our privilege to be able to help change the system. So those are my words. I share them with love, and I send love to each of you. Take care.